I honestly, what I did to prepare for today's speech was really focused on what it meant. And as I continue to do research and just pray on it, I feel like Black resistance is the foundation of who we are. And so I wanted to ask you all, I wanted to kick it off just by asking you all, how do you define resistance when you hear it? Like, what does resistance mean to you? Refraining from what you said? Continuing against my position. Oh, I love that one. Okay, anybody else? Against oppression, okay. Forming your own, I like that. Anybody else got another one? Yeah, ooh, ain't that it? So when I looked up Google and what it meant, it said the refuse to accept or comply. But when I started to ponder on it as it related to me, and it as it related to different people that I just love in history had made a difference, came up with Black resistance as working against the odds. Because all my life, I had to work against the odds. And so just a little bit about me, I'm a media personality, a syndicated podcast host. Since I was the age of 5, I said I wanted to be a teacher, preacher, and on the radio. At the age of 23, I looked up, I was a teacher, preacher, and on the radio. So I truly believe that you can make your dreams come true. You are responsible for your dreams, your life, and you have the power to change the world. And so I've learned throughout my life to be a strategist. And as part of me being a strategist at the age of 5, stating what I wanted to do, after I made that happen, I went to college and learned how to market and what marketing looks like. Being on NKU's campus as a radio personality is where I got my start to be in media. And from there, I became an award-winning entrepreneur where I opened my own company, Ebony J Media. So she talked to you about Ebony J Media, but my other company is the I Am Queen Awards. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have 2 different businesses. And the I Am Queen Awards, what we do is our goal is to ensure that 1 million young girls and young women see themselves as quotable, unique, educated, empowered, noble servants. That's my mission, that's my vision, and that's truly why I feel that I am Black resistance, because since the beginning, I had to really experience a lot of hardships. And as we know, that's the history of America. That's our history. We came through with this struggle, right? But we still had to overcome. And so I'm just gonna be a little transparent today to share my story with you all in hopes that you will be able to kind of forge your own story and figure out how do you want that ending to be for you and how you will be able to overcome and live through Black. So I also don't want to forget to leave out that I am a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So let's start here. So I wanted to just kick it off by stating, using my voice, using my talents was always a problem. And that is how I learned that about what resistance was. It's because I've always had a problem when it comes to that. But I wanted to start with, it was just for me showing up. People just seeing who I was the problem since I was 5. So being a child, the darkest in the room, like I've literally gotten older and gotten lighter. But as I was young, I was always the darkest and I hated my color and complexion. I was bullied, I was talked about, I was looked down upon. I couldn't play with people, I couldn't have things because I was darker, right? That was just the beginning of me learning that about resistance. So I wanted to ask that question to you. When you show up, do you feel resistance? Or do you remember the first time you felt resistance? Because it was me at the babysitter being told I cannot be on their team because I was too Black. So I had to go be on the other team. That was my first lesson of resistance, which made me feel that I was never going to be good enough to fit in. So it started off just the color of my skin, keeping me from it. But then it came to, your lips are too big. Your nose is too big. Your butt is too big. All of these things now keeping me from being what? From having power, from being free, from being able to be with everybody else. So showing up for me was number one. But then the second part was using my voice. I've always had this mouth. Okay, this mouth been getting me in trouble for years, y'all, okay? So the teacher would always hear this mouth. I could never whisper. My voice was always a resistance. They would say, here come that loud mouth. Here she come. That was my resistance. I could never help it. And my voice was deep. So I couldn't whisper. It bothered me, again, who I was and how I now was labeled as something because of how I sounded. Now, again, we can't control how we look, right? So mama cut me out like this. I can't stop how I can't control how I show up. But then I can't control my sound either, right? I've always had this tone. I've always had this sound. And even when I'm in a store and I go out, to this day, I'm quiet until somebody says something to me. Because as soon as I open my mouth, everybody turns around and says, oh, you sound familiar. You that girl from the radio. And now I can't be everybody else, right? Now I can't blend in and do what everybody else do. But that's what I learned, was using my voice on NKU's campus. I became a problem. I got my own talk show 5 days a week. Whatever was happening on campus, whatever was going on with the school, we were talking about it on my show. That's what for me, that's what it was all about. But what I learned was some of those things we were talking about, people may not want to hear. Maybe I pushed the level a little bit too much. Maybe I talked about something that I shouldn't have been talking about yet because they feel I don't have the power to talk about it, or I'm empowering us to do something more, to think more, to be more. Because again, I'm this little old Jafanya Wynn from Cincinnati who grew up in Evanston, went to Hughes Center, who never thought, again, she was nothing more than this big mouth, this big butt, and this Black woman. I wasn't going to be nothing more than that. But I had to learn I was a queen. Yeah. And that's the purpose of what I want us to know today. I have to realize I'm quotable. People just don't quote what I say. It's nothing I can do. I can't be mad. I used to wake up in college and everybody was writing on their timelines, good morning, kings and queens. And that's what I would always say to everybody. But then I learned, like, you're setting the trend. You are the leader. It's okay, because that's what we do. We are the culture. Like, they want to be what we are. We created it, right? But it's okay to own it. But we have the power to use our voices. And I want you to think about, what does your truth, have you ever shared your truth with somebody and notice how it made them feel uncomfortable? Because for me, when I get to talk about my life and what I've been, people get a little uncomfortable. I'm like, they touched me, they beat me up. How you uncomfortable? Right? But it's my truth. This is our truth. They hung us. We were slaves, but they want to rob us from our history and tell us we got to get rid of these history books. Why? It's the truth, and it's how we can be who we are today. Can't be nothing more. And I want you to know we gotta rise. We gotta use our voices to help those who don't have it. So I learned to speak up. I learned to speak up. And we know, as a Black woman, sometimes when we speak up, now we hard to work with. We can be combative, a little aggressive, right? And I had to learn how to be right in the rooms, how to speak, how to have those conversations. So pushing, but not pushing over the edge. And we know how that can be, because we'll get included in the conversation just because we're the only Black one in the room, or we're the woman in the room that can speak up, right? We have to speak up. But like, how do we really speak up for each other or speak up for ourselves and not be condemned? Because there's always a resistance. There's always resistance. And I learned that in friendships. I learned that in school. And then I got in the workplace and learned it in the workplace. I work in the media. So it's on a whole nother level of, how can I be How can I speak? Since I was this little girl, I wanted to be on that radio. The Wiz saved my life. I was a little girl being raped and molested in the babysitters because, again, I'm too dark. I'm nothing more. All I got is my butt. All I am is this. And that's what they broke. They wanted to break me down, right? But look, I overcome because that's what we do. Nobody knows these things, but that's what you have to do. So you're going to have some fight. Understand, it's just in our nature. It's in our history. You're going to have the pain. But the pain pushes you to your power because it's power in who we are. We are really, really powerful beings. And it's about us figuring out what problem are we really here to solve. Because I've been solving problems since I came out the womb. And I realized that. And I had to sit back. That's just my role. I had to speak up for the others. It had to happen to me so I could speak up for those who are going through it now, right? And so one of the next parts that I wanted to share as we move into the media, that's where I wanted to be, right? This girl on the radio, but nobody understood why. But it's because when you on that mic, you have the power to speak to so many people. People have power, but what are you going to do with the power? Every time I get on that mic, I make it very clear. I can do all things through Christ. Yes, I'm standing here, but understand I'm standing here because there's a whole bunch of people that came before me. I'm on that mic every week, empowering somebody, uplifting somebody, giving some motivation to somebody, speaking life to somebody. But when you have power, or you being put in a position, you want to make sure you're doing the right by it. So for me, getting in the media, I had to learn how to no idea what the field was like. Hosting all of these concerts, meeting all of these celebrities. They treat you like a sex object. I was this church girl. So I come out in a whole new world that I know nothing about. They're smoking weed. They're doing crazy stuff behind the scenes, behind stage. The rappers coming off stage just automatically assuming that, shoot, I was the host on stage turning it up. They think they about to have a great night with me. No, that is not the case. But in our world, though, right, when we look at our history, though, right, that's what they're used to. When do we stand up and say, I am the resistance? You can't do that with me. You can't speak like that with me, and I will not be that. I show up with clothes on, okay? You're going to see me for who I am. You're going to hear my voice. Know me for who I am. But it's about, again, when you're thinking about the media, that's what I had to jump into. So when I jumped on the Wiz, I had no idea that this was such a male-dominated field. My boss at the time was a male. His name was E.J. Greg. And literally, this was like the height of my career when I first jumped in as his producer. So this is when radio was jumping. Like all the celebrities, every time they came to the city, they had to stop to our radio station. But he was the program director. So in the program director, he's like one of the top dogs. He's very busy. So my job is to do his whole show, but make it seem like he did it, to make him shine, right? So my job is to know everything that's going on. So as soon as he walk in here late, I got his papers, I got his list, I got everything he gonna say. He gonna do this great show. Well, a couple of different times in that part where I learned, you know, we had different celebrities like Monique came through, John Witherspoon, Yo Gotti. We just had a lot of different people come through. And when Monique came through, it was this, she just had this aura all over her. It was a great interview. He did good with his interview with her, but she really wanted to connect with me. And then this moment is where I learned, like, it's really a man's field. Because even though she wanted to connect with me, he did everything he could to make sure we did not connect, you know, and I noticed it. Even every time she would try to include me in the conversation or in the interview, he would stop recording. He would turn off the camera. Like, he didn't want me to have this moment. But when God wants something for you, right, it's still gonna happen. So we still had her moment. I still got a chance to interview her. I still got a chance to, you know, bond with her. But it was that moment where, for me, my brain, my sentence, and then I realized I have a job to do. My job is to show up, show out, and make it clear to them what I can do, how capable I am, and show my abilities. And I did. And that land me a weekend position on the radio station. That land me my own show. That land me the opportunities to produce for Russ Parr, for Ricky Smiley, for Tom Joyner, and being able to do so much more, only because I realized again where I'm at. And I want you to realize where you are as well and think about where you're trying to go, because you have the power to go and be whatever it is you want. Understand, you got to figure out though your purpose. Because we can't fix and solve every problem. But what problem are you going to fix and solve? And for me, it's me knowing that I want you to know your power. So that's my God-given thing. That's what I'm doing every single day. It's the push to know. Like, you're going to have a whole bunch of pain. So we can talk about your pain. But once you get through that pain, you heal that pain, it's time to go live in that power and operate in that power. That's your truth. That's who you are. So come up with goals, because I'm one of them speakers. I don't like to just talk about me, but like as we wrap up, I want to share a couple of different strategies that I've used. So if you do have notes or you want to screenshot it with your phone, because like I said, since I was 5, I was that lame girl coming home every day, doing my homework and being in my room, and you all were teddy bears in my room, and I was coming home doing this every night because I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I tell everybody, come up with your goals, decide what it is that you want to do, what kind of life you want to live, what do you want to be, because that's what I'm doing every 3 years, every 5 years. I'm challenging myself and I'm taking myself to a whole nother level because I see it. And if you see it, understand it can happen. But you have to do the work to make it happen. I did the work. I am the resistance. And like Donnie said, we learn never to give up. It's going to be hard. All the time it's going to be hard. But then what? It's going to be hard. But then what? What you going to do next? My thing is keep going. Remember, you have the power to really, really change the world. And when I talk about power, I'm talking about the privilege to overcome whatever that has disenfranchised your reality. Our realities are twisted. My reality was twisted. They tore me up, they beat me down, they tried to take away everything that God put in me, right? But we have the power to overcome it. It's all about this mindset. So think about where you want to go and how you're going to get there, and you can. So if you want to take a picture, I do have some resources on my website, time management schedule, from just like how to like love yourself, different resources, I give them out. You can take this picture and sign up, and you go to the page. It's a whole bunch of different free downloads. I wanted to make sure I offered it to you, but I know everybody don't get digital all the time. So I did want to share a couple of with you before I leave. My 6 strategies I use to overcome resistance. And for one, is heal. Finding that perfect peace is important. I go to therapy. I got a business coach. I got a personal coach. I got a financial coach. I'm getting coached because I can't do this by myself. So you got to know what it is that you need. For me, I needed a whole bunch of them. So I got a whole big team of support. What do you need and how you can get there? For me, that healing, I had a whole bunch of trauma to get through. So I had to go through a lot of different therapy and do a lot of different things. Reading, knowledge is key. It's the power. What do you need to read? I don't like reading a lot. Sometimes I do an audiobook, or I follow different things that's just going to pour that life in and speak that life back into my mind. But reading is something that I do. And I share a lot. So I share my story with people. That's how I've been able to heal. Like I used to really couldn't even stand up and talk about my pain and the things that I overcome. But as you see, I got through this with no tears, right? Because I've been sharing for years now. And I'm now sharing and I help others share. So that's been a great way for me to resist and for others, right? And then connect, building a community. Your network is your network. And I can call Donnie and say, Donnie, I'm struggling with my marketing. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to do next. What can I do, right? That's my community. You got to know who's in your community that's going to be able to help you. Your teachers here in this school, oh my goodness, they the beginning. They the beginning. All your teachers, your support, your advisors, they are the beginning of your community. Have their numbers, have their emails. Don't be afraid to reach out to them. I knew all my teachers. I had all their cell phone numbers. When I was at home working on work projects at night, they knew they was getting a call from just Defining Win. Literally. So when my paper wasn't perfect, when things were off, when things were wrong, they knew that. because I communicated with my community. So it's very important. Also, link with the group. So if I don't know, I know they have a sister circle, but there's different groups or organizations, or get you a mentor. I know mentors have been very, very instrumental in my life. Being a part of other organizations have been very instrumental. And last but not least is rest. This is my off day, but I love you all, so I came. But like I learned, like, I know that's so funny that I texted my stylist this morning when I was sending the picture of my outfit, because I dressed myself and they were so proud of me. And I was like, I gotta go speak at UC today. And she was like, what? You're speaking on your off day? I said, yes, I made this commitment before I started, really standing up for myself and loving and being honoring myself. But really, we have to make sure that we rest. Because like he said, as entrepreneurs, we'll work 8 days a week. And then you have no time for you or for your family, but you want to make sure that you are resting. It's important to take a break. It's important to reset, and using some of these strategies will all be good for you, and it's going to help you to be able to resist. So I hope today that from the things that I shared, that you've been able to really walk out of here today a little bit different and implement some of these strategies to help you. Thank you for having me, Ms. Tracy.
If you got a few minutes for some Q&A, if anybody wants to ask some questions, we can also take some questions from our Zoom participants. Anybody? Okay, I got one, and then I got two right here.
What groups are you guys actually a part of that help support your projects?
So for me, I got like 3 friends. I really don't have any outside groups. I got the people that have been knowing me forever and that challenge me and call me, and we talk almost every single day. And they're proactive in helping me be successful, right? So again, the whole thing with good company is I want to get away from people who are just taking a place in my life. And you got to identify those people. You got to, here's the challenge, is to be real with yourself and say, these people really ain't doing nothing for me. The hardest thing to do is be your sister, your brother, but they not. I always challenge, let me say this real quick. I always give this challenge out. Write down your top 5 people. Right? They love you, you love them. And then next to their name, write down how they're proactively helping you be successful. There's where you see the challenge. Because they cool, they love you, but are they calling what you doing? Oh, I got this lead for you. Proactively, without me asking you, helping me be successful. Yeah. Where those people live. And so it's only about 2 that I got to decide. Helping me be successful. It was a time where I was just starting, and I remember Tony, never get it out of place for him. And he was like, "Look, how you doing? You good? He said, did you get an email?" I said, what you mean? I mean, a lot of people, like, what you talking about? He said, so I ran into this person, right? And they were having this event, and they were looking for vendors. And I know you just started your brand, so I know you need to get out and let people know that you have this product. So you need to be a vendor, and he said, they should have sent you an email because I seen the opportunity is asking, he's seeing what I was doing with my life, and he could lead me be success. And so that's my group. That's my group. If they're doing that for you, make them your group. If they ain't doing it for you, they say, come on, don't ever deal with it. But really be honest with yourself and say, relationship for real. What we really doing? If you ain't doing that for me, we just cool, we grew up together, I need to find me some people who are willing to be proactive in helping me be successful. And I need to do this thing.
They help do Black businesses. Yeah, I think it's the Greater Cincinnati Association of Black Journalists. I work with them as well, and then of course, I just feel like you just kind of look around, figure out what it is to show that she is, like she said, nurses, like there's Black nurses so many different Black Earth groups, so like finding what you like as Black groups, like get in those lanes, like it's been very interesting. We expand like.
Jay, and then did you have a question? Okay, so I got this.
That's our favorite. It's everywhere.
Right? So,
It was real.
right? So you put your hand but you had to take your flyer and put it in people going to or the community, your flyer and see anything you can go physically.
We are flyers a lot of way. Like that's never really.
Yeah, literally here that I was driving and somebody in front of me had one decals on their car. You did? Oh, you did. I give them away for free. I'm giving you for free, taking 3 minutes. Remember, you said it was free.
And people are in the yard.
Yes, we're gonna walk or something.
You've been like thinking out the box. I want to turn people to your brain and not just like you said in social media. But like I want to think of it that way. Like for me, I'm on the radio. So people always say, I see you everywhere. You really not. But you stay in your relevant marketing, you stay on marketing. So you hear me on the radio, then you log on to the website, see me there, then you get in your see it, then you get okay. So it's just making sure you're, you know, you're visible.
Possible, and this term, but layered marketing is something that I teach on.
Yeah.
Layered marketing is not just putting flyers out for 6 months and then with flyers been on and you stop doing that. And then you run an ad on the radio for 2 months and then the radio stop doing that. It's that. That's layered. You get them every way. You come down the street, you'll see somebody with a yard sign that says, "My house will keep you." Right? You get behind the bus and you'll be like everything. You get on your phone and listen. Everybody on your phone.
Good.
What we're doing is so many ways that you have to promote your brand. And what people don't realize is we're in a marketing business, not a product business. It ain't about a product. Because if you don't let me know you got a product, your product don't exist anymore.
We got about 5 more minutes and I wanted to take another question and then there's a couple of questions on Zoom. Let's go.
So,
Come on, it's
but what would be some good things to help him push? Like last year we went to the art, I don't know if anybody remember the art class, bodybuilding something, we were up there. We were pushing clothes, like we stole stuff.
Yeah.
But what would be something that would be good for him to keep them, I mean, besides me, obviously, but what would be something that you could say that would be good?
It's the one word that I live by. It's consistency. It's really it, man. It's really no trick. It's really no one way to do stuff because that's the key to success. Because everybody's success looks different, right? And so I can tell you need to do this, but it might not really work for your brand. Okay. But what I can tell you is the one who is consistent is the one who is successful. So going out, getting out, don't ever let your foot off their neck. Continue to let people, marketing, it either introduces people to your product or reminds people that your product exists. Marketing, I'm gonna say this. Marketing is one thing we're gonna do every day. We're gonna eat food. Why? Because food sustains our body, right? It allows us to live. Marketing is food for your brand. So you can go a day without promoting your brand, just know your brand ain't eating it. If you keep not letting your brand eat, it'll slowly down.
Next question. And I give him, or can I give you this information so he can,
It's called networking.
Teach them. I do that for people. We schedule some time and we're gonna for you.
It's called networking.
And I can write that. So it's-
Even more.
And then Sharon Davis says, hey, Soror. And this is the question, what do you do for self-care?
It hasn't been on Facebook. Basically, I've been doing me. What I've been doing for my self-care has been asking others what they do for their self-care. Because I am a work of it. Kids, my violence, my nothing. Right? So this all my business is me. And that's what I do all day. The last one is me experiencing Tuesday life. And I've been able to be much of my life full of work and don't know what to do. So here for me has been going on movie days, like to eat. We kind of really it felt different, but it's because I've been able to be able to turn it down. And I feel the bit really like a man the bit. Never been able to peace in the heart. Within paying attention to that. Now I wake up in the morning and I still listen to whatever station I may be in the mood for, and the music starts. And then that immediately gets me up where I want to get out of bed. Lighting the candle, I'm starting to sing, I'm bored, what I want information, and I just begin to speak life into myself. So like that's like a morning routine, and then like the night routine with a long time ago, I need to get in the bed. Like so those things are helping like with meditation, journaling. It just kind of depends on the day. I'm learning certain days I need different things. So I tell everybody to just kind of see what it is you need for you. What's gonna work for you? Because they have recommended so much. I think I have a big thread on my social media if you want people recommendations. People just recommended so much stuff. And I just been trying to go on there and just seeing what works. So just know it's more to say for me, it can always be getting my hair done, my nails done, I'm spending this whole day. And I learned that it's more than that. So the rest of my day is gonna be a therapy, massage, and like relaxation because it's not the day. But you know, just figure out what works for you. So, they got a question.
One down further. But I'm trying to connect with you, Emily, because I'm thinking you're great. I did think that my community, they were my radio audience, whatever the case may be. I've always felt that my gift was my roots. But with that said, I've been at this for a few years now, and I'm really trying to figure out how do I break into that media industry, radio, TV industry. You know, I've talked to individuals, I've reached out, you know, I've studied individuals that, you know, are inspiring for me. But how would an individual like myself that has kind of, you know, been working on building his story, building his own personal, how would I, you know, intervene into that industry specifically?
Great question. Now, I've been getting this question a lot. You gotta create your own. I literally, so I'm not, it's not great, right? But like, you still have so much work to do, like, still begging to step on a community conversation, saying it. Like, I'm really doing it for them. So you will be doing it for yourself, where you're gonna think so much.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be able to talk about what you want to reach what you know what I'm saying? We're in the media, really video with stuff like who comes in
be way different. I tell everybody, you got that camera, you know. Well, if you've been with them for the last 30 days, I was going to buy it. It's coming, everybody keep asking me about it. I've been pushing it off for the last year. So I'm gonna just keep going around. Somebody's looking at me, I'm gonna say, and this is what I was doing, they're watching. Whether they're watching you, what he say is this is gonna win. And that's why I got on the radio, doing that radio show for NKU 5 days a week for free for 2 hours. I did that for 5 years, so family get on the radio. So do the show is you can find get a break. Like when they see the point, like you need that. If I'm doing stuff, why would the station come in? Because we gonna get it's gonna be bigger. Okay? You know, it be you get ego, you get all the things that are really gonna be fit. So I tell people like you stay on what you know, keep doing it. When they do when you finally do get the opportunity, you may learn that you may not even want it. Because some of them they come to me with different opportunities now, and I'm just saying because I'm where yeah, here, or here, or where y'all gonna take my this field with. I'm getting so much trouble because we feel there. People, when we simply I have no that because that's the community that's my target. So keep going. Being expensive, really finding that something that you're so taking that like it was something it's so many things we can do to make it like see that's just where you're gonna be. So anybody in the media, understand media, right? You can be doing what people on social media and people in the industry as your right. Like there's still things we can still do to make sure this gets.
You're drinking, like you are high. When he's speaking,
I'm not.
it'd be over.
So it's sounding to me like I know who I need to bring in as a speaker. Sounds worse.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yep.
Yeah, and we wanna get a booth picture before y'all start. Just gonna win the draft.
It's not good, you gotta get your phone down. And,